Trot and Trot. Hello, my name is Tony Freedom. Um, Back in 2011, I was facing foreclosure and wasn't real concerned about it because I had 3 private lenders that I could borrow from, and which is exactly what I intended to do. In January, I met with one, and we come to an agreement that he would loan me $145,000. I only owed about the payoff that JP Morgan and Chase sent me was $125,000 and some change. So my lender was going to give me $145 because I had put a modular in a basement, which wasn't intended to go on a basement. I put 3 beams across and lowered it down on the beams. It had no basement access, it was absolutely not designed to go in a basement. Here's the drawings I had done. I ended up placing the home in a basement here. I never filled out to make it into a fixture because it was never intended to stay in the basement. We were going to live in it for a while because we were living next door over here. We were going to live in it for a while. I was going to pull it off. I was going to get these 2 lots divided. I was going to set the modular here, rebuild on the basement, put another modular on this lot. Planning to either rent them out or keep them for our kids. But with that being said, that's why I never had intended the modular to be in a fixture. Here is where I purchased the modular. Paid for it in full. No lien holders. This was the $35,658.40. Sent this in. Received a state title right here. Which has been in my name since 95. Yeah, since 95. The credit union, I took a loan against it, and they signed on here as a lien holder. Okay, so when I reached the point of foreclosure with you guys, like I said, I went and met with a private lender, and we made an agreement. I was going to borrow $145,000, $125,000 and some change to pay off the balance owed on the mortgage, and I was going to use the remainder of the money to have these 2 lots parceled off, and to get the modular off the basement and put it on this corner lot here, and either rent it or sell it. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but I was going to get it off the basement so we could build back on the basement. So I had, just enough money to get that done. And my private lender early January called me and said, "Tony, we have an issue," because he told me to bring me all the documentation I had on the place, and he noticed that there was a lien on the state title. And I was like, "Oh, no big deal," and they've been paid off. So I went and had that lien removed January 25th of 2011 right here. So then there was no lien holder, so I got that released. Then month went by, another month went by, the foreclosure was getting near. Wasn't concerned with it at all. My private lender would just simply make a debit card transaction and pay it off. So yeah, I had no concerns at all over the transaction until my private lender called me again. Said, Tony, we have a problem. The legal description is incorrect. And I said, it's incorrect. He said, yes, it can't be surveyed. I called my surveyor and he said it can't be surveyed. The boundaries don't return to the point of beginning. So I said, well, I don't know, I'll have to see what's going on. Well, what happened is I received a warranty deed, which I never should have received because I paid this guy $19,000 and I actually owed 80-some thousand to settle the land contract. So this warranty deed was just enough to. He was trying to push financing through because he was facing criminal charges and was in desperate need of money. So yeah, this deed wound up having the wrong property description on it. Okay. So I go to the title company just days before the sheriff's sale. And they do this affidavit saying that there's issues with real property under MC 565.451A. They record it with the county. I am extremely nervous because, yeah, this is just days before the foreclosure sale. So I call my private lender and say, the title company has filled out an affidavit. He said he wasn't going to release the funds with that. He was not going to release the funds until a notice was printed in the paper with a proper description, and that is how the foreclosure is supposed to be handled, and just refuses to give me the funds. So I'm in a panic. So I run up to my attorney and am concerned deeply about making Trot and Trot aware of the situation at hand. And at my attorney's the day before the foreclosure sale, he sends this letter out, a facsimile transmission, Trot and Trot, North Highway, Suite 200, Farmington Hills, foreclosure date tomorrow. Dear Team J, it has come to my attention there is an error in the legal description regarding the property at 1268 Marsh Road, Plano, Michigan 49080. There's a foreclosure sale tomorrow, March 17, 2011. Attached hereto is an affidavit stating facts affecting real property under MCL 565.451A. Perhaps it would be smart to allow for the filing of the Scrivener's error and then renotice the foreclosure. Please call if you have any questions. Respectfully yours, Todd Redman. So when I left his office, I felt pretty confident that I had done all I could do, and was assuming that what Todd was saying was what was going to happen. Assuming that the Scrivener's error would, and they'd renotice the foreclosure. Well, that never happened. Instead, the sheriff sold my land. Here's the sheriff's deed. Unfortunately, the sheriff's deed had a faulty legal description. Nobody changed it with the affidavit that was filled out and recorded. The letter from my attorney to Trot and Trot was just completely ignored. They just used the incorrect description and sold the property. Okay, so then I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So my private lender is no funds are available. He's not offering. No funds are going to be available until this is straightened out. So I showed him the letter that my attorney had sent you guys, and showed him the affidavit, and he said, "Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but until things are renoticed in the paper or whatever, he was not. No funds would be available." So I get to digging in our land contract has the proper description that we bought the 10.34 acres on June 15th of 1993. $20,000. It's got the proper description. It says in the land contract that the vendor agrees to keep the buildings, blah, 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 blah. Said vendor also agrees to pay, blah, blah, blah. The vendor receiving, blah. The vendor, on receiving payments in full and said principal and interest and all of the sums chargeable under this contract, agrees in his own proper cost and expense to execute and deliver to the vendee or to his assigns upon surrender of this contract a good and sufficient conveyance in fee simple. Fee simple. So I have here where I had paid in full. Here's the receipt. It says for $1 another valuable consideration receipt of which hereby acknowledged and hereby assigns the rights, title, and interest in all within the land contract. Okay. So it's my baby through the land contract. Here is, let's see, I get lost here a minute. Here's my receipt. I paid payments received $82,397.96. This was on the same day that the warranty deed was drawn up, but this happened at a later time of the day. The warranty deed was drawn up earlier in the day, so we could take it to another lender and get this money pushed through because he was facing criminal charges and desperately needed it. So that's what we did, and that was the Plainville Credit Union, and I already showed you where they signed under the title. So I'm backtracking and trying to figure out what's going on, and basically now I'm sitting here right now with a state title. JP Morgan Chase never put a lien on. The only people that ever had a lien on it was Plainville Community Federal Credit Union, which they signed off on 12511, which I went and had done for my uncle, which was my private lender, and his request. So now I'm sitting here wondering what is going on. How is this sold? Why was my attorney ignored? Why was the affidavit ignored? Why was the place sold? And why did they send me a payoff of $125,000 and some change? And the place was sold. That was for the 5th of April. They sold it on the 7th for $127,317.27. I found that unusual. So did my uncle. So my uncle's like, "There's a lot of issues here. You had a lien on the title. You got property description errors. Property cannot be surveyed. It's nothing. If it can't be surveyed, it's not a property," which I agreed with. So I'm just telling him, let's just pay it off. I got the land contract with the legal description. My wife had a survey done right here in 2000 because we were having a dispute with the neighbors, which has the right legal description. So I have two documents, one through my wife, one in the land contract with the proper legal description, I have clear title to the house. I told my uncle, let's just pay these guys off because apparently they don't care what we're saying. So he refuses. So now after losing everything, due to a Scribner's error that you guys were made aware of, you foreclosed on my house, you evicted me. You had no rights to my motor home. That was my personal property. It was never attached to anything. It was set on beams, resting on beams. None of the decks were attached to the home. There was nothing attached to the home. The home was sitting there because it was going to be pulled off and put in the corner on a separate parcel and rented or sold. Then I see you guys don't stop there. You come in May 3rd, 2013, and you attach my modular to the property you don't have rights to because it hadn't even been conveyed to me yet. My land contract's never been surrendered, and I've never took it over fee simple. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I've been seeing attorneys and I'm starting to get it figured out. But yeah, you don't have no title. It says submit an original application signed before notary. Application will be returned if not completed. The original certificate of title of certificate of origin must accompany this. It don't. You guys are just basically saying you own it, I guess, with no title or yeah. You're saying very little, but not only did you not own it, there was a lien actually on it that until I had it removed. So here's where we're at, boys. Here's where we're at. You ignored my attorney's letter stating that there was issues with the legal description. You had no lien or no rights to my personal property of my motorhome, which I purchased in full, and you never you never perfected a lien on that. So you have absolutely no rights to the property. You have absolutely no rights to the modular. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? I'm pretty confident that with the research I've done in the representation I'm ready to hire, that I can take the $100,000 I have in this briefcase right now, and I'm pretty confident I can turn it into $900,000 easily. Probably more, but I'm very confident I can turn it into $900,000. So here's my offer to you. And this is a one-time offer, no negotiation. Either I receive a settlement of $350,000 in 20 days, and we can put this all behind us because time is something we can't get back. So let's not waste it. Let's not waste time. Let's not waste cost. Let's not waste time. I think $350,000 is extremely fair, extremely reasonable, and my damages are 3 times that, and I'm pretty confident I can get treble damages, so triple damages, and yeah, there's a lot of damages I've suffered. You guys roll me out $350,000 in 20 days. We can put this all behind us, and I'm actually interested in hiring you to take care of some business for my son, because I respectably, you are very good at what you do, and you were extremely busy back then. So I can see where errors were made, and yeah, respectively, admit your wrongdoing, put integrity in front of money, pay me off $350,000, and we'll save a lot of people a lot of time and a lot of cost, and a lot of aggravation and a lot of hardship. Do what's right, boys. Just do what's right. Thank you.